Lillian de Waters in the Science of Ascension, 1929. Chapter 7 and last chapter. Roll away the stone. Suppose one desiring a certain precious and marvelous jewel searches and looks everywhere, but all in vain. The gem of his dream cannot be found. Finally, one day, a friend comes into his presence, presenting him with a handsome velvet box. In this box, says the friend, you will find that for which you have long been searching. Here is the jewel of your heart. Take it, for it is yours. Now, what is the first thing that happens to this individual? It is this. His mind is at peace. He stops longing and wandering, for he is at rest. He does not hasten to open the box. In fact, he rather delights in keeping it unopened for the moment, for behold, it is here. That which he has desired has at last come to pass. Perhaps someone now reading these lines has problems, fears, troubles. Let this message, Science of Ascension, be the precious jewel, the priceless treasure delivered into your hand. There need now be no hurry about the overthrow of sin, sickness, and limitation. You can now relax and be at peace, for to the heart has come the light and truth, and this light and truth means freedom, deliverance. This truth means labor-less emancipation from a sense that is material to a sense that is divine, from a mind that is darkened to a mind that is lighted, from experience that is discordant to experience that is joyous. The jewel is here. The mystery is unveiled. Now one sees the way, one feels the joy, one receives the glory that infinite consciousness has prepared for those who arise and accept the way to that heavenly city and that perfect land which in truth was never left. And into his experience comes a new heaven and a new earth, for former beliefs have passed away. By virtue of the fact that we have abolished the belief that we are human and have accepted the understanding that we are spirit, we are prepared to accept the glories of ascension. By virtue of the fact that we are God being, we cannot be sick and we cannot die. Our eyes now see and our ears now hear the wonderful things that are prepared for those who accept this glorious vision. Often it is asked why it is that some students apprehend and accept advanced ideas of truth readily and easily. Others, apparently equally as eager and earnest, do not accept the presentation, but instead hold tenaciously to differing views and concepts. The process of individual acceptance may be made clear by the following illustration. Suppose that a party of friends enter a new and beautifully furnished residence to examine its style, furniture, art, etc. In this party are an electrician, an artist, a musician, as well as children of varying ages. They all enter this spacious and luxuriously furnished home. Do you see the musician giving his attention first of all to the tapestries, or to the floors, or the decorations of the ceiling? Indeed not. He finds the grand piano, and for the time this absorbs his whole attention. And the artist, is he too stationed at the piano? Why, already he is wandering from room to room, engrossed with the etchings and paintings. The electrician examines the latest style of electric fixtures and is interested in the radio. The children amuse themselves with games and books. Each adult seeks that which particularly captures his attention. Now, everything about this group of people is just as it should be at that moment, is it not? Each one is following a certain mental inclination and culture, and each one is finding pleasure and satisfaction at his particular point of attention. It is quite like this with the great numbers of people who study the Bible and who study metaphysical works and messages. We find books written by highly specialized minds setting forth verses from the Bible to prove that Jesus was the Son of Man. On the same shelf with these books are others written by equally respected minds setting forth verses from the same Bible to prove that Jesus was the Son of God and actually God Himself. Year after year, century after century, new books of such character are being published. It is like this when it comes to the study of metaphysical science. It seems that from the same textbook, variously different ideas are received and promulgated. It simply means that one expresses himself according to his individual state of consciousness. The child pursues life in a different direction from the adult, and each one absorbs from books and teachings that which corresponds to his present view of life and being. This is the reason why one can seemingly find in the Bible whatever will support his belief, no matter which side of the message he had adopted as his viewpoint. The Bible furnishes this paradox. Jesus stated, quote, "All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Yet, of mine own self I can do nothing." Another biblical paradox. The flesh profiteth nothing. John 6:63. Flesh cannot inherit the kingdom of God. 1 Corinthians 15:50. Yet all flesh shall see the salvation of God. Luke 3:6. Or that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our mortal flesh. 2 Corinthians 4:11. Another one. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Isaiah 45:7. Yet God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. 1 John 1:5. Thou art of purer eyes than to behold evil. Habakkuk 1:13. The one of insight is not dismayed by these seeming contradictions. Climbing the ladder of life, we choose what we shall see and believe. But there comes a time when we no longer choose, no longer separate, no longer adopt certain specific forms of beliefs. For now the paradox is plain to us. We see on all sides and we reconcile as all as one. We can now understand another's view, no matter where he stands upon the ladder. Also, we can show him the next step ahead. To one of exalted vision, all views blend into one great reality, and at last one can say understandingly, there is no evil. A child has the right to childhood, and one in his study of life has a perfect right to think and act according to his vision. Indeed, what else can he do? Therefore, during the transitional period, wherein one is choosing, selecting, balancing, arguing, separating and dividing, he acts according to his unfolding vision. He is seeing two factors, two sides to life, and he is choosing between them. But when he has reached a certain peak of vision, perhaps slowly, perhaps swiftly, he perceives the paradox and he exclaims with the prophet, quote, "The darkness and the light are both alike to me." From then on, he commences to perceive oneness. Wherever he looks, whatever he reads, in the office, in the home, on the screen, in the stars, lo, everything speaks to him of the one life, the one being, the one expression. He sees now why it is that over the world is heard a word echoing from the superplane, the word cooperation with capital C. Does this not mean oneness, agreement, unity? Certainly it does. Down through the ages, it has been eternally sounding. Let there be light. Multitudes are hearing as they never heard before, and earnest and eager attention is focused on peace, on harmony, on service, on love, on oneness. Quote, "That which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been." Ecclesiastic 3:15. Every good thing that seems coming to us is already here. It is coming to individual recognition, that is all. It is being apprehended by the individual consciousness. In reality, it has been from eternity, but now it is appearing to us individually. This is the way in which creation, in quotes, is finished. Yet creation is constantly and eternally appearing to individual recognition. With the dawning in consciousness of this view of oneness and indivisibility, one gently rises from a mortal, limited state of thinking to a free, immortal state of understanding. With this heavenly vision, there appears the new earth, for always corresponding expression accompanies ascending states of consciousness. Verily, O glorious reality, thy kingdom is coming, is here, on earth as it is in heaven. Swiftly comes the end of darkness when light arrives. Swiftly over all the face of the earth comes the end of separation, division, opposition, ignorance, for the light of reality is here. Illumination consumes all misunderstanding, and the King of love and glory is enthroned in hearts, in social groups, in nations. Day by day, the whole world is echoing back the song of angels. Quotes, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men." Luke 2:14. Of what advantage is it to have a selfhood that is God, Almighty, unlimited, all-powerful, all-glorious, if we do not let this one live in us, if we do not let this one shine in us, if we do not let this one act in us? To realize freedom, authority, let us accept and practice the one presence as all. In this way, that which has seemed false in our minds will be transcended, swallowed up by the good in our own true nature. As we perceive the allness of the one and the oneness of the all, we can say, quotes, "Heaven is here, the desert blossoms as the rose, the lion and the lamb express the same being. Ever it is I, the divine mind, the Jesus Christ self, which speaketh, saying, quote, I am whole, I am perfect, I am wonderful, I am glorious, I am victorious, I am all, and besides me there is no other authority." Always there is a way of escape because of the mental nature of the limitation. For example, a caterpillar cannot fly, but suppose he should wish that he might fly. Of what avail would this wish be, since it is not the nature of the caterpillar to fly? There is a path, however, a way for him, unseen by reason. There is a way of deliverance. Let that entity put on, accept, the butterfly, then he can fly. Now the human being wishes to be perfect, to be free, to be well and divine. But it is not in the nature of a material being to be perfect, to be glorious, to be free and divine. Yet there is a solution. There is a way of fulfillment. The way is that of absolute science. Let the so-called mortal put off the state of false belief for the state of understanding. Let him emerge from material belief into spiritual ascension, from matter into spirit. Then automatically he is glorious, he is divine, he is free. A butterfly need not crawl, neither need nor can an immortal being function in sickness, sin, and death. Behold the light, behold the way, behold the science of ascension. The God to whom we look, to whom we turn for deliverance, is verily our own true being. The God who healeth and redeemeth and saveth is verily the self of Jesus, the self of you, the self of me, the one and only self, one God, one totality. It has been stated that we must translate the universe back into spirit, that we must interpret spiritual things spiritually. For instance, we are to perceive that we are the divine mind and that we manifest all which comprises the infinitude of truth. Jesus, while in human form, demonstrated the spiritual revelation of atonement, resurrection, and ascension. As life is spiritually interpreted, material sense is put off for spiritual science. This transition from lower or human sense of life to a new and higher sense presents the way of fulfillment through earthly development. Jesus' nativity, being a spiritual sense of a spiritual world, naturally his mission was to interpret the spiritual universe spiritually. Inspiration is the light which illumines the darkness and reveals to us that, like Jesus, our nativity is spirit, soul. In the dark hour, let this inspiration shine, for it is inspiration which individualizes, in quotes, infinite power, sweeping aside clouded sense as the breeze sweeps away mist. Inspiration proceeds from a consciousness which believes in almighty truth, a consciousness which speaks imperatively from the basis of faith and understanding. What stone, in quote, or obstacle can withstand omnipotence? When one has the living fire, he fears nothing, for this living flame is a law unto itself and is absolute authority. Whatever seems an obstacle in our path can be rolled away by insight and inspiration. The fire of courage, certainty, power, born of spiritual inspiration, is the flaming sword which turns everything, every way to establish life as irresistible, triumphant, victorious, and supreme. And the new tongue, in quotes, accompanies right interpretation. As one translates things into ideas and ideas into soul, he needs a higher expression to convey his advanced understanding and make practical the commands of Jesus. Every advancing period delivers a higher and clearer interpretation of being. As the vision of truth becomes more fully interpreted and practiced, individuals will more clearly apprehend their original and absolute state of being. They will rise naturally and easily to the mount of revelation, crowning earth with irresistible glory. Thought will soar above false beliefs to triumphant freedom and to the understanding and experience of ineffable love, light, and glory. Human experience gives us plenty of opportunity to express that spiritual dominion which was enthroned in us in the beginning. Exercising this dominion, one advances rapidly in spiritual vision and spiritual revelation. The view from the mountain peak seems quite different from the view in the valley. Looking from the mount of spiritual vision, one sees that the heavenly kingdom has come to earth, that perfection, glory, harmony, immortality are established without beginning or ending, and that this being is forever perfectly expressed and manifested. Looking from the valley, one perceives progress, advancement, regeneration. One perceives that seeds become plants and that mortals become immortals through spiritualization and regeneration. From the mount of vision, one views the universe clearly and interprets it truly, while from the valley, one looks through mistaken sense and interprets the perfect world imperfectly, untruly, materially. Seeing the perfect universe through a veil or mist, one sees it by degrees, step by step, ascending as the veil is lifted. For instance, when healing, in quotes, takes place, it appears as though the body had changed from sickness to health. And when manifests life more abundantly, it appears as though he were immortalizing the body. The fact is, however, that no one cannot immortalize his body for the reason that this act has already been accomplished. The body is perfect now, and this perfect body is recognized and understood when rightly viewed. Roll away the stone of erring vision, for behold, I make all things new. Revelation 24:5. Into the mind there comes a new sense, a feeling of joyous inspiration and courage, for now it is seen that while there is nothing to be done or outwardly accomplished, there is an inner viewpoint which shall be attained. It is as this correct viewpoint is attained that we express the truth in our daily experience. There are not two beings, one spiritual and the other material, nor are there two worlds, one perfect and the other imperfect. Looking with clear vision, one interprets all things spiritually, perfectly. Looking through mistaken sense, one reports spiritual reality falsely, calling the spiritual being a material being, and speaking of perfect universe as a material world. Now that insight is here, we joyously accept it, and we love life, and we love all the activities of a perfect universe. As one gains a clearer and clearer view of perfect life and its perfect expression, it seems as though he were actually immortalizing and perfecting his body. He is perfecting his viewpoint, that is all. He is establishing himself on the mountain peak and is seeing life spiritually instead of dwelling in the valley and interpreting life materially. Proportionately, as one widens his horizon, does he more correctly view and interpret perfect, complete being and perfect, complete universe. No change ever takes place in perfect established being or in perfect established expression. Our prerogative is to know this sublime reality, and to apprehend this fact of being. It is clearly seen that Jesus, while on earth and in the flesh, in quotes, viewed a perfect universe, and that he continually called this kingdom to the attention of those around him. He also saw perfect expression as ever present. His instantaneous healings, in quote, prove this fact. Now, when one individual is perceiving life and its expressions from the mountain peak, and another individual is viewing life and its expressions from the valley, their reports seem opposed to each other. The one on the peak reports beauty, harmony, glory, perfection, while he in the valley reports discord, sickness, sin, bondage. Let it be very clearly grasped and fixed in consciousness that the discord is not opposing the harmony, that sickness is not the opposite of health, nor is bondage at war with freedom. It is a mistake to let mind accept the notion of separation, opposition, warfare, for nothing of this sort is present anywhere. Let us adopt the new tongue, revising our vocabulary and striking out words which do not harmonize to the divine viewpoint. Why waste time and glory in discussing what isn't true? Why not hasten to the marriage feast already prepared, and eat and drink with our risen Lord? In proportion as one rises above mistaken sense and its viewpoint, he finds himself on the mountain peak, understanding that the universe is one, and that whether one visions from the peak or from the valley, what he sees is altogether a matter of consciousness. Death is not the opposite of life, nor is evil the opposite of good, for the simple reason that one is ever present, while the other is always illusion. If you enter a dimly lighted room and mistake a pedestal for an intruder, would it not be practicing absurdity to declare the intruder the opposite of the pedestal? In omnipresence, there are no opposites. This is right vision. This is the view beheld from the mountain top. Never does the material expression contradict the spiritual reality. Never does earth contradict heaven. Nothing can contradict reality, for reality is all, and reality is forever established. One ceases to mention materiality and evil when he apprehends and accepts completeness and uninterrupted fullness as one presence now and here. Using the new tongue, erring expressions drop away naturally and without taking thought. Quote, we shall see him as he is. 1 John 3:2. It is an established certainty that we shall perceive perfect being and perfect universe as they are, that drinking of the living waters we shall see face to face. As mistaken sense fades out, one perceives reality more clearly. Misinterpreting this process of vision, however, one erringly speaks of reality as physical healing and physical improvement. It should be known that we do not restore the body. Instead, we restore the sense of it. We restore the point of vision. This is accomplished by calmly and trustingly declaring that good is ever present, that there are no opposites, that one presence and one experience are forever here and with us. Every living thing enjoys freedom. Birds and animals and high-souled men love great forests and unwalled spaces. All living things delight in freedom because life itself is freedom. All living things cling to life. No matter how many years one has been in this world, even at the end, he wishes to remain in it, to stay a little longer, to prolong the time with loved ones. Why is that? Because soul cannot consider destruction. Life knows no such thing as death. Life and its individual activity cannot be separated. We give ourselves to the One, and there remains no sense of personality, no notion of separation. It is because the One is our life and is our heart that we can never be entirely satisfied with the joys and pleasures of this world. Do we not see men continually searching after happiness, always eager to have greater abundance, never quite satisfied, but always seeking just a little further ahead? Now, one may believe that he is seeking pleasure in material things, greater abundance of wealth, nearer and dearer companionships, but all the while it is truth that he is seeking. He is seeking his heart, his treasure, himself. Now, in one language, this is called evolution, and in another language is called progress. But rising above languages, we see that one shall find himself, that one shall meet his own glory and shall know his own divinity. One will never be satisfied with less than all, because his nature is the unlimited, the eternal, the infinite. It may seem to him that he seeks companionship, wealth, amusement, but even though he may not know it, he seeks the unchangeable. He seeks the unlimited, the infinite, the eternal. Seeking his perfection, his reality, he will never desist until he finds it, until he comes face to face with his own glory. Quote, "As for me, I shall be satisfied when I awake with thy likeness." Psalm 17:15. We naturally love all things beautiful, lovely, desirable, not really for things themselves, as one may believe, but for the self. The self is beauty, and so loves beauty. We desire wealth, unlimited abundance of all things, not for the sake of wealth itself, that we may accumulate or hoard it, but for the self. The self is the eternal wealth and joy and satisfaction. We love people, friends, companions, relatives, not that we may attach ourselves to them, but we love them because we see in them the self. The self knows that it is universal and omnipresent, and so constantly and continually seeks to express and embody itself. The source of all joy, peace, satisfaction, glory is us, the self. We are here for a greater destiny than to function in time and space. There is something in us which urges us ever up and on, which promises that we shall be conscious of our omnipresence, and be instantly wherever we wish to be, that we shall become conscious of our omniscience, and have instantly revealed to us any particular knowledge that we may desire at the moment, that we shall be conscious of our omnipotence, and merely speak the word, and it shall come to pass, that we shall become conscious of our immortality and live forever. The Christ eternally breathes upon us the message of our everlasting glory, wonder, power, majesty, and immortality. If we feel burdened by matter and mind, by belief in the hardness of human problems, we rise up and sing. We take our hymn book and raise our voice in song and praise. One cannot sing long without the feeling that he is lifted above his problem. Song inspires and lifts up the mind so that seeming troubles begin to manifest less in proportion, less of weight, and soon they appear smaller and farther away. We sing until we feel the answer within us, feel the warmth and the glory of peace and power. Throughout the Bible, one may find that there are many examples of quick deliverance and emancipation from erring belief through song and praise. Quote, "Roll away the stone. Sing and praise life for its wonderful freshness and ever-restoring fairness and loveliness. Praise intelligence for its omnipotence and dominion. Praise love for its ever-flowing affection and forgiveness. Praise truth for its outpouring abundance and its wealth of living ideas. Open the heart and let it rejoice in song. Let it come into its own, the kingdom of supernal delight. Song brings a quickening, a melting down of false beliefs in the mind, a breaking away of clouds, a rending of the tomb of ignorance. Roll ye away the stone. Whatever seems a tomb enclosing one in the delusion of darkness and night, his song can roll the stone away. Jesus, coming to the tomb of his friend, issued the order, roll away the stone. Now he who found it possible to reproduce the presence of Lazarus, so that he walked forth in triumphant glory, could certainly have caused the stone to roll away without assistance, other than the authority of the word alone. Jesus saw something, however, that these people could now do for themselves, something that would symbolize the rolling away of a stone of much greater importance. in the midst of every individual, is the all-knowing power which can roll away the stone or seeming obstacle. Those who say that they have never felt the presence, heard the voice, nor seen the light, have nevertheless read the words, "Believe in me." Begin at once to believe in the omnipresent Christ, and begin at once to accept this Christ as your own self. Accepting, believing, watching, praising, one reaches understanding which is able to do all things for him. We are conscious of our hands and feet. Why should we not be conscious of our life and soul? Now, the living soul has been called the Christ, the superconscious mind, the Father, and many other terms. But the underlying meaning is the same. It is one being. It is one reality. Learn the science of ascension and be free. Through the understanding and practice of this science, you will control error with truth, sense with soul, and belief with understanding. As one sees that he himself is the Trinity, that he himself is the light and the way, he becomes fearless and free. How can one help but receive that which is his very own, that which ever remains awaiting his recognition and acceptance? From beginning to end, from eternity to eternity, he is destined to come into realization that the kingdom of God is his, and that his actual being is the one. Ascension is the exercise of one's inherent glory. Ascension is the drinking of living water and the partaking of heavenly bread. It is predestined from eternity that at some time in the experience of every individual, false sense will be found unreal and untrue, and true consciousness will be found complete and ever present. Revelation brings all things to our remembrance, transcending the evidence of the material senses and translating sense and language back into their original tongue and substance. And let us not be selfish with this glorious understanding and light, but let us give it freely to the universe. Let us rejoice to see the spreading of truth, no matter who speaks it, nor what avenue opens for its expression. When we look upon everyone as ourselves, blessing all efforts to bring the kingdom of heaven on earth, then we are practicing our vision and are beholding the divine science which has rolled away the stone from the sepulchre of our Lord. Let us say, quote, all the good I ever thought, all the good I ever said or did, this good was not mine, but was thine. Let the universe take it. Let all who will take it, for what is thine is universal, having no attachment, having no will, but the will of universal love and brotherhood. So shall we receive freely, even as we give freely. And the good work that we do, the wisdom that we speak, will be so wonderful, so great in light and glory, that our personal self will be entirely lost sight of, and the impersonal and universal Christ will reign supreme. Then indeed are we glorified. Then indeed are we prepared to behold the creation which is perfect and good, and which can be seen face to face. Discovering the power of insight to break the dream of false sense, we spiritualize thought and action, demonstrating the unreality of sin, sickness, and discord. A material sense of life is all that has to be relinquished, and this action takes place automatically as one perceives and accepts his actual being and his actual heritage. Material sense yields to the science of ascension in proportion as one learns and practices the radiance of his free, flawless, and triumphant self. The science of reality wipes away tears, lifts off shackles, and delivers glory, power, insight, and triumph. Sickness, sin, limitation, bondage exist only as false sense. And as this darkened sense is controlled with the light of spiritual perception and understanding, such limitation and bondage cease, and one finds himself free, unfettered, and harmonious. The power of light over darkness is universally accepted and utilized. Likewise, the new tongue, in quotes, explaining the power of enlightened spiritual sense over mistaken deluded belief, is rapidly coming into a wider recognition and acceptance. The foundation of spiritual healing is truth, insight, understanding. As one attains a mind in harmony with truth, he laborlessly experiences a body governed and controlled by harmony. Every step we take spiritually places us more firmly and surely in the realm of conscious joy, glory, and happiness. The emancipation of our bodies from sickness, our minds from fear, and our lives from discord follows the perception, understanding, and acceptance of our being as the unlimited, adorable, and eternal. In the science of omnipotence, there is no low here and low there, but steadily, firmly, we keep our mind on the fact that there is but one substance, one power, and one life, and one being. When spiritual perception reaches truth, then error is subdued and it disappears. The human mind, advancing above itself towards sublime reality, relinquishes the mistaken and transient view for spiritual perception and divine consciousness. Thus, as mind accepts spiritual understanding, it rises above all falsity, and the divine consciousness is found to be the only mind, intelligence, and actuality. Then appear a new heaven and a new earth, and former views and things will have passed away. sin, sickness, death are unsustained by truth and will disappear and be swallowed up in spiritual truth and reality, in victory, ascension, and triumph. Revelation and illumination transmitted by spiritual consciousness correct erring sense and erring belief, transforming earth with triumphal glory. Because the One is all being, and all being is the One, a realization of this fact will deliver us from evil and will open our vision to behold the spiritual phenomena of divine reality. Consciousness, held in a false sense of existence, will be uplifted, purified, and elevated, either by ascension or by the progressive human steps, until all come into the knowledge of reality and rise superior to limited sense and existence. Accept the joys and glories of your real being. True understanding will roll away the stone and will open for you the door to supernal delights. You can achieve all good, all joy, and all happiness. See first the understanding of spiritual reality, the kingdom of heaven. Then the abundance of infinite glories, pleasures, and harmonies will be showered upon you. As the heart accepts the sublime message that individual being is being individualized, in quotes, under the law of love, the law of the Christ presence, consciousness is then released from its fears and darkness, and spontaneously it rises to behold the spotless glory of spiritual being, spiritual body, and spiritual universe. It has been said that all spiritual teaching in this world may be rightly grouped under three headings. The first heading is I am His. Here God is thought of in the third person. One talks about God. One sings about God. One says, I am His, as though God were a great way off. The second group or heading is this: I am thine. God is now being brought closer to the individual. God is not spoken of or about, but God is spoken to. God now becomes nearer and nearer. God hears and answers prayer. In the third position, the veil of duality is torn completely away. Oneness now holds the vision, and the cry is, I am thou. Now mine and thine are the same. The one is recognized, acknowledged, and accepted as all. Thus shall we not all find that one after another we have taken just these three positions in our seeming journey from sense to soul? I am His. I am thine. I am thou. Arise, shine, thy light is come. The glory of the Lord is upon thee. End of chapter and end of book.